Good afternoon, everyone. I appreciate everyone in the organization making time for this today, and I understand I'm standing between you and lunch, so I promise it won't be long. But I do want to talk to you about something that's very integral to our business. We're a growing organization, and in companies, as you grow across multiple geographies, you cross borders. And ultimately, borders no longer become tangibles because you're part of one organization. So naturally, we experience culture clashes at times. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do four things. First, we're going to analyze and define what is culture. This is something that permeates all of our lives and comes in many forms and fashions. Next, we're going to analyze. We're going to come up with what is culture clash? What does it mean? How does it manifest itself? And third, we're going to prescribe a few tips. And I promise it's going to be 3 easy, simple to follow steps. Something you'll be able to remember, even though I know everyone's hungrier. And finally, we're going to discuss. And I think in any learning situation, we can learn the most from each other, rather than just having me talk at you. So naturally, we're going to define what is culture. You hear this word, it's an election season. I know culture wars get thrown out a lot, all these different buzzwords around it. However, it's actually a very simple concept, and it's made up of 2 factors. There's the tangible, the things that we can see and feel. Something as simple as geography. What zip code you grew up in? What country you grew up in? What country your ancestors came in? Where do you live now? The next thing are norms and behaviors. These could be something as simple as what colors mean to you, what's a normal week look like, how do you greet your friends? And the next, there's the intangible. These are things that are a little bit harder for all of us to kind of quantify, to put into a bucket. But these things can be very simple. They can be perceptions. How do you perceive conflict? How do you perceive the work environment? What is work-life balance, and how do you perceive how that makes priorities? Across our organization, especially as diverse as ours, there's a multitude of perspectives with that. And finally, values and beliefs. And sometimes that could be something as organized as religion, but that could also be as simple as valuing family time at certain points of the day, or certain norms during summer holidays that I know sometimes cause culture clash. And ultimately, these in its entirety ultimately lead us to say one thing: the way we do things around here. This could be the way you do things around your home, how you do things with your family, where you grew up, or how you act at work, or your department. So naturally now that we've defined culture and how it permeates throughout our lives, it's probably good to analyze culture clash a little bit. What does that mean, culture clash? And so as we think about it, I want everyone to kind of visualize an opportunity or a recent incident where you felt cultures clashed in your life. Oftentimes, it's driven by several factors. We're going to talk about 4 things today that ultimately drive culture clash. High versus low context cultures. Ultimately, these are things, how you perceive collectivism as a team or as an individual. The next thing could be talking versus listening cultures. Oftentimes, it's as simple as, does the culture err on the sides of talking or listening? And that can cause miscommunications. This can cause clashes. Second and third are very tied together integrally. Hierarchy and how we view it, egalitarianism and how we view it, and finally, facts versus feelings in the decision-making process. Do we value facts over our gut, or do we value our gut over the facts? And these things tend to be the 4 key drivers of why cultures clash. So you're probably asking yourself right now, well, great, Andrew. I know that this exists. Well, what can I do? We're in this organization, we're trying to grow. but how do I mitigate this? So I'm going to give you a very simple 3-step process that you all can remember, I promise, to help mitigate. I can't say we'll prevent it. I won't make that claim today. But I think we can at least get on a path and a common process to mitigate these issues. So I'm not sure if anyone is a fan of 1990s rap music, but I am. And there's a gentleman in 1991 by the name of Vanilla Ice from Miami. Has anyone heard of him? Come on, some of you had the CD, right? Come on, please. Or the tape, fine. And there's a simple 3-step process, right? Stop, collaborate, and listen. Those are the only 3 steps you got to remember today. And now you have the song stuck in your head, so you're welcome. And ultimately what that means is stop and realize that there could be a potential conflict of cultures. Just be cognizant of it. That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking you to stop the conversation and make it awkward. I'm not asking you to sit there and research all the solutions, but stop and be cognizant. Next thing, collaborate. And collaborate gets thrown around a lot, but what I mean by that is ask questions, be open, listen, and be ready to learn. And finally, the last one is listen. And so you have to listen to your other parties, and sometimes it's not what is said, it's what's not said. So remember, stop, collaborate, and listen. Now, a slide or two ago, I asked you all quickly to remember a time where there's culture clash. This could be something, this doesn't have to be in work. You don't have to name names. It could be with your in-laws. It could be with your brother or your sister. It could be with somebody you don't know that you met on the street, or a potential supplier. So I'd love for us to hear today discuss a few instances where cultures clashed. Anyone want to volunteer up a story? Dave.
Since you helped me out. I went over to France to help commission a piece of machinery. We were behind schedule. We had a few things go wrong, and we wanted to stay over. We wanted to work till 7, 8 o'clock to get it done. And they are very stringent about leaving at 5. They come in at 9, they go to lunch at 1, get back at 2, leave at 5, because they want to get home to family. And we wanted to stay, and hey, we need to really work and hammer this out. So there's some culture clash there as we wanting to work as long as it took to get the problem fixed, and they valued being home, well, at least that time of work.
So some of that intangible, and then also the tangible, right? Behaviors, what was normal for them?
Right.
Right. How would you handle it differently in the future? Not to really.
Maybe plan for it. I guess, we went there thinking, all right, we're going to work as long as it takes to get it done, not knowing these norms. So maybe do some planning and do some research on those type of intangibles.
Or was it within your organization?
Oh,
or was it a separate outside company?
Outside company that we were purchasing a piece of equipment from.
I know sometimes when I have a company internal discussion, I set the expectation. Saying, guys, we might have to work over, is that okay?
Right.
With leadership, and then get their buy-in, and sometimes that helps too.
Okay.
Any other examples? Do you guys mind if I share one? Maybe that'll help. Real quick, I promise. I know I'm standing, I got a minute. So when I first got out of school, I was transferred. I worked for a big company called Eaton Corporation. They're, what I always joke, the largest company you've never heard of. They do about $24 billion a year in sales. They're worth about $56 billion. They're a diversified manufacturer, and I was in their finance leadership program. And so my first assignment, I was transferred to Jackson, Mississippi. I was a boy, grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, never been south of the Mason-Dixon line other than to Atlanta, or to Florida, my parents' vacation home in Florida. My whole life. Never been to Jackson, get on a plane 2 days after graduation, 2 bags, I had no car, nothing, moved to Jackson, Mississippi, sight unseen. Never visited before until I got on the plane. Landed at Jackson Evers International Airport and Home Depot and Tire Center, and got off the plane there, and I was in Mississippi. And you would think, in a place like the United States, that there'd be common currency. Certainly there was. Everyone spoke English, although it did sound different. And what people ate for lunch was a little different. And I quickly was immersed in what I would call traditional Southern American culture. And believe me, it took a long time. My direct style, my fast-talking Yankeeisms, as they said, didn't always go over well. And so I had to learn to adapt on how I built relationships, how I pushed for decisions. So that's just an example, but it's something even as simple as region of the country, zip code. Well, thank you all. I appreciate your input today.
Were you watching from outside, Pam?
Yeah.
Yeah? Let's give feedback.